Hello, guys, and welcome back to the Rovers Report, where in today's video we are joined by Oxford fan Jack, and we will be previewing this weekend's fixture. So, first off, Jack, how you doing, mate? You feeling okay?
Yeah, not too bad, thanks. Just a bit hot, like everyone will be, I think. So just trying to keep cool.
Yeah, nice, mate. If we just start then, obviously we've played a couple of games already this season, but if we can just take it back to the start of the season and have a look at your sort of the transfer window. Would you say in general that you've been happy with Carl Robinson's business over the summer?
I think I'm probably happy now. We
Hmm.
got off to a very slow start, and by the beginning of kind of proper pre-season, we hadn't actually brought any new players in. But as of I think lunchtime today, we've now signed 8. So it's been quite a bit of squad churn. Some kind of big names for League One have come in, and we can start to see how the squad's shaping up for the rest of the season. I think there's still a little bit of work to do before the window closes, but compared to even 3 weeks ago, we're in a lot better place than we were.
Okay. Um, I saw today. Who was it? Kyle Joseph you signed.
Yeah, on loan from Swansea, I think he can play anywhere across kind of the front three. So we needed a striker, so that will tick a
Yeah, I was
box.
going to say obviously Rovers fans are well acquainted with Matty Taylor, but was it only really him within your squad that was an out and out striker?
Yeah, we've got Sam Baldock that we signed at the kind of on the last day that you could sign free agents last season. Did really well for us, but he came back in pre-season and aggravated an injury, so he's out probably till the back end of September. So yeah, it was just Matty Taylor. So
Hmm.
adding Joseph to the kind of front line will be useful because we've got a lot of players who can play wide or kind of the number 10 role, but as a you know centre forward, if you like, it was really only Taylor.
Yeah, no, and yeah, just sort of obviously you said about the transfers there. What were most of Oxford fans' hopes this season? What was the sort of realistic goal that you were expecting?
It's a funny one. I've been asked this before by kind of colleagues and friends who, like their League One football, because although last year we missed out on the playoffs entirely, we kind of fell apart in the last few games, we actually got the most points we've got at League One level for 3 or 4 years,
Mm,
but finished lower. I think that just shows what the league was like last year.
mm,
Um, it's known our budget's been increased for this season, so we allegedly have a comfortably top 6 budget. So the hope would be that we are in and around top 6 fairly comfortably. But I think this league's going to be crackers this year. I think there's going to be teams that beat everyone, and it's who puts a run together the longest.
mm. That's fair enough, mate. Um, so yeah, obviously let's touch on the previous fixtures you've had this year. So you obviously had that defeat to Derby, and then you had the victory against Cambridge. In my notes, I sort of put it down as weirdly, did you almost play better against Derby and got nothing, and then it wasn't a terrible performance against Cambridge, but it wasn't a great performance either, was it? So how would you assess those games?
Yeah, I don't think we've hit. Well, no, we definitely haven't hit what we're capable of yet. The Derby game was a funny one. Obviously, full house at Pride Park. I think they were a little bit surprised how we came out. We were quite positive, but as the game went on, we kind of got stuck whether we wanted to take the point or go for the win. And a few changes from Derby, and they came up with a goal. I mean, if you've got an international player like Conor Hurahan
It's
floating about on the edge of the box, you've got trouble.
a bit unfair,
Uh,
that, isn't it?
so yeah, exactly. So I think I think Cambridge fans would probably argue last week that they maybe deserved a point, though they didn't have a shot on target in the game. So it's one of those. I think from the 2 games, we could have come out with 2 points and probably said, yeah, fair enough.
Mhm.
We've come out with 3 from the 2, so I think you have to take that. I don't think many teams will go to Pride Park and come away with anything, so we won't be the only ones there.
No, I think that's just to touch on that Cambridge game. I've forgotten the kid's name now, but who it was? Was it a 19-year-old that scored that winner? Was it?
Yeah, so Tyler Goodrich, um, yeah, he's come through the academy. He got given his debut in the Checker Trade Paint Pot Pizza Cup, whatever they call it now, a few years ago when he was like 16.
Yeah.
He's kind of had a few loan spells, Slough, Hayden Yedding, kind of, non-league localish teams. Um, and he's come back, and because recruitment's been so slow over the summer, he's been in and around the first team. And on Saturday, Robinson threw him on with 5 minutes to go, and then he pings one in the top corner in stoppage time. So, it's one of those moments everyone will remember. But what happens for him now, as we've continued to bring players in, he may get a loan spell, maybe in the National League and the Conference, or he may, continue to be around the first team squad. But yeah, some way to introduce yourself.
Yeah, 'cause that was going to be my next question. Is that you don't think he's necessarily going to be in contention for starting on Saturday, or?
I'd be surprised. So he started against Swansea on Tuesday in the Cup. So I'd imagine he'll be on the bench on Saturday. Given what players weren't involved against Swansea, I would assume he'll be on the bench. And I think generally Carl Robinson's quite good at handling young players like that. He's come on and scored a goal in his first 10 minutes of league football, but in that sense, he's not done nothing yet. So he will be kind of grounded, if you like. So he might not even be in the squad at all. That wouldn't be a total surprise. So we'll just have to see.
Okay. Just moving on to the next one is I know I've noticed some comments. I didn't actually see the the formation that you set up with on Tuesday night, but I noticed that Robinson said he's going to try something different. So it's just what sort of style does Robinson traditionally try and implement, and what sort of style will he be playing against us on Saturday, which may vary from what he played on Tuesday?
So generally, it's an attacking style of play. So for the majority of his time at the club, he's played 4 at the back with a kind of holding midfielder, and then a bit of chaos in front of that. So you generally have Matty Taylor as the number 9, a couple of wingers, and a couple of proper box-to-box midfielders. So on the offensive, it's a bit gung-ho. Both fullbacks are told to get forward, but we have often conceded goals on a quick turnover because both fullbacks have gone, and it's suddenly left with an opposition midfield breaking on 2 centre-backs. We saw a bit of a 5 at the back last year with wing backs and a third kind of centre back to stabilise, if you like. But I don't think that's going to happen this year because we sold Luke McNally to Burnley, and he was kind of the ball playing centre back. So we've lost that. But yeah, Tuesday, I think that was a bit of an example of Robinson being a bit over the top in his interview. So his big change, if you like, was playing one of our other youth teamers at right back. And he's been deemed more of a centre back coming through the academy. So it was a bit of a trial, if you like. But really, the formation in front of it was relatively similar. I mean, Billy Bowden played centre forward, which was the other surprise, I think, because he's generally played wide or deeper for us.
How did he perform there?
He did all right, I think. He's really neat and tidy. I always remember him from Rovers and when he got his move to Preston. A player I always rated, but he's just had so many bad injuries that it's nice to see him fit and playing, and he looks like he's enjoying football again.
I think all Rovers fans will echo that statement, to be honest. Obviously, there's animosity towards Taylor because of what he did going to City and stuff, but Billy Bowden was always a fan favourite, and I think when you see a player get injured, the amount that he does, you just want him to go and do well, don't you? So hopefully not this weekend, but hopefully have a good season. I think you touched on some bits there. Just what would you say, if you're a Rovers coaching team, what would you say your strengths and your weaknesses are?
Well, the one weakness that a lot of fans would probably pick up on, and I touched on it, it's our left back position. So we've got a very attacking left back in Steve Seddon, and for me, he's more of a wing back or even a winger. So he loves to bomb forward, but defensively, he's often kind of caught out of position a little bit. So we've seen a lot of goals come from a ball going in behind him, and space being created from elsewhere. And that's something that's really been, to be honest, not just Seddon, fullbacks we've had over the last few years. It's just it's a feature, if you like, of the system we play, that the space for opposition is in behind our fullbacks.
Interesting.
Strength-wise, I mean, we like to play football. We can play it well. We've got, arguably now, with the players that have come in this summer, an abundance of attacking talent. So there's always options, and that's quite a nice thing to have. That if it's, say we were losing 1-0 with 80 minutes to go, you'd look at the bench and go, actually, we've got some options to bring on here. especially with the 5 subs as well now. Having that variety, feel like is good. But yeah, the weakness over the past few seasons, especially last year, was we conceded a lot of goals, which is fine when you go and score 82, but it's not very often you go and score 82 and finish 9th or whatever it was. So
it means you have to work hard for your victories, doesn't it?
Exactly, yeah.
I think that's really interesting what you said actually about the 5 substitutions, because obviously this weekend I think it's going to be early 30s at least in the temperature. That's going to have a big toll on the players there. So I think it gets to the final 20 minutes. It's going to be a tense, tight game, and I think the use of substitutes could really impact which way this game swings. Just a couple more questions for you, mate. I was just wondering what your starting 11 you think Robinson will put out will be this weekend.
I imagine he'll stick with the same back 5, if you like, including the keeper. So it'll be Simon Eastwood in goal, Sam Long at right back, Stuart Finley and Elliot Moore centre back, Steve Seddon left back. Then it's a bit of an unknown. So we've signed a player on loan from Leeds called Lewis Bates. He played a couple of times in the Premier League last year, and he can play in front of the back 4. But so far this season, we've been playing Marcus McGuane in front of the back 4. So I think it'll be one of them. And then, again, the other 2 midfield spots, one of them will definitely be Cameron Brannigan. But then the other one could be James Henry, or it could be Billy Bowden, or it could be the other that doesn't play the defensive role. So that's a bit of an unknown. And then the front 3, I would expect will be Taylor, flanked by 2 of Marcus Brown, Josh Murphy, Bowden, Jody Jones. So, the wingers are the ones that will be rotated a lot this year, I think. But
sounds a little bit
sure
like
Taylor will start. Say again?
It sounds a little bit like Liverpool, doesn't it? The way you can rotate out your front 3 a little bit.
I mean, we're definitely not as good as Liverpool, but there is that element to it. There is a lot of ability to change things, and now we've signed Joseph. I'd imagine he'll probably start on the bench, but I'd imagine he gets 20 minutes or so at least.
Just you mentioned him there as well. Just touch on Brannigan a little bit. I know there was that whole fiasco. It appeared that he was moving, didn't it? Someone had paid his release clause. I'm sure you can enlighten a bit more. But so he obviously signed a new contract for you. How important is he to your team?
That's massive. I mean, this was the world's longest transfer saga that started about two seasons ago, where Blackpool kept waiting to the last minute to bid. And we kept saying, well, you know what his release clause is, so bid it. And they never did. And then finally, kind of out of the blue this summer, they bid it on, I think it was the Wednesday night. Sounded like it was a done deal. Brannigan travelled to Blackpool, met their coaching staff, their manager, their chairman. And we just threw a new contract in front of him. And the assumption is on a good whack. 3 years, and for whatever reason he decided that he'd rather be kind of happy being a League One regular and being the star man than going to Blackpool, who for me were never going to be the right move for him. I think he's better than the Blackpool side, who are probably quite happy to be mid-table Championship. But his agent since come out and said, you can't beat a player being happy in their life, and he's happy at Oxford. So for how vital he is to our team, he's massive. He's box to box, he gets stuck in, he's gritty, he can score a goal, he can pick a pass. He's a bit of an all-round midfielder who, he shouldn't be at League One level, but I think he really does value being happy.
So do you see him as sort of a high-end Championship player?
I think, I think there's no reason he couldn't. The thing is now he's 27 coming on 28, I think. So we all thought he would go this time because, if he's going to make the step up, it probably needs to be in the next couple of years to get make a career at Championship level, so to speak. But but buzzing he stayed because he's the main man.
That's great, mate. Are you coming down to Bristol for the game or not?
No, I'm not. So I think there's a little bit of a kind of boycott going on in terms of the ticketing prices.
I don't blame you, to be honest.
And 25 quid to stand in the corner, or 30 quid in the tent, as we like to call it, didn't appeal. And then obviously the changing kickoff time to a lunchtime kickoff, combined with train strikes. I'm not based in Oxford, I'm based in Derby, so all that combination just meant, what I follow suddenly becomes much more appealing, which I don't normally like to say, but it really does this weekend.
Yeah, I can't blame you for that one, mate. So I did have a little look on your forum match, and I'm not one of those fans who go, "Oh, you haven't sold out," or do you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
do you think that's a big factor for a lot of people that they're sort of?
I think it is the combination of all those things, and we have played each other quite a lot over the last few years as well. There's been obviously the FA Cup tie. There was, we both had been in League Two, League One. So I think if it was a game against a team, who hadn't played for a long time or whatever, and in a similar set of circumstances, there might have been, more of a turnout. But I think we'll probably scrape 1,000, I imagine, in the end. But yeah, Saturday lunchtime, people haven't got a lot of money at the minute. Train strikes, it's just a bit of a nightmare for everyone.
Yeah, no, I get that totally. Just finally, mate, what's your prediction for the game? You feeling confident going into it?
I don't know. We the last few seasons, our first 10 games have generally been pretty poor. Obviously, we got the win last week, somewhat, late on and maybe a bit luckily. Had the penalty win on Tuesday night against Swansea, so you'd think confidence will be high, but we've had some shocking games at the Memorial Stadium and come on the end of the wrong result, and equally we've had some good wins there as well. I remember I did a podcast for the Derby game and said, "Oh, we always score," so and then we lost 1-0. So I'm a bit cautious what I say now, but I think I'd back us to get at least a point on Saturday.
Yeah.
I think we'll give it a good go. I think probably one prediction will be that Joey Barton and Robinson have a bit of a go at it on the touchline, perhaps.
I think I'd be inclined to agree with that one, mate. I think, and what you're saying about you scoring, I don't know if you're aware, but we have sort of a mini crisis in defence for us, to be honest. We've only got currently 2 centre backs fit, one of whom hasn't played properly for about 18 months. The others are 20-year-olds. Did play well for us last season, but we've got quite a threadbare squad at the minute, and I think, especially in defence with your attackers, I'd be very surprised if you don't score this weekend. So I think I'd take a draw as well, but I'd probably predict you to win that. So
I'll take that.
that. I just wanted to say thanks again. I was wondering, how do you pronounce your podcast? Is it?
Yeah, we get this a lot. So it's Tut Manor Podcast, and that's because originally some or all of us were all based in Yorkshire.
Okay, no, I thought it might be something connected to that. But
exactly. So the Oxford's old ground was the Manor. We're Yorkshire based Oxford fans. So the podcast is Tut Manor Podcast.
Okay, nice. And if any Oxford fan or Rovers fans watching this wanted to find you, is it Spotify, SoundCloud?
Yeah, we're on all the kind of classic places where you get your podcasts, and then we're on Twitter as well. Just search Tut Manor Podcast and you'll find it.
All right, perfect. Well, I'll make sure to put all of the sort of links in the description of the video. So
lovely, thank you.
Just again, mate, thank you very much for coming on, and good luck on the weekend, but hopefully not too much luck.
Not too much. Cheers, mate. Take care.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Cheers. Bye-bye.